I worked on a field called computational social choice theory when I was working on my PhD, and there are a number of NP-complete problems involved surrounding that field. And some of these problems I estimated could take thousands of years to run on a modern computer. Obviously, computer technology is improving, although I think we're hitting a limit at some point. And then I also worked on the side. I worked on a problem called Ramsey theory, and there were two interesting cases, and I estimated one of them would take 8,000 years to run, and then another case, the famous R55 problem, would take 30,000 years to run. Based on the programs I had at the time, I could probably improve it somewhat if I had the inclination to do so. And then after I graduated, I started writing games just as a hobby. And there are several games that I think, if given thousands of years to simulate, could play almost perfectly. And one of my dreams is to someday build a time capsule and run all these things and have somebody dig it up and go, oh, I have a perfectly playing Othello game, or I see that R55 is whatever. I think a lot of computer hardware technology is hitting its limit. I mean, right now I'm using a computer that has 4 gigahertz clock speed. I mean, that's probably a limit because if you think about it, in a billionth of a second, light travels about 1 feet. So I don't think you can get much faster than that. And then there's Moore's law, which is kind of hitting into using one atom per transistor on the computer chip. Once we hit those limits, that's probably it. Whatever number of thousands of years it's going to take to find R55, I don't think it will improve very much unless we can prove that P equals NP, which is a whole different category altogether. But I think most people will doubt that P is equal to NP. And I think a time capsule is the only way anybody will be able to do any of these things. And I was thinking about, I got an idea because I was watching about the Keo satellite. It was a proposal that everybody would contribute email messages to somebody, and this person was going to build a satellite and launch it into space, into lower Earth orbit, and have it decay in 50,000 years. And he chose 50,000 because that would be around the time that 50,000 years ago is when our ancestors started making art. And so if we send something into space for 50,000 years, when it does crash back into Earth, people will be able to look at it and say, this is the halfway point of humanity, something like that. I think that's the only chance for a computer to survive 50,000 years, because if you think about it, there's no oxygen up there. Oxidation is probably the biggest enemy for a lot of technology. There's not as much heat up there. I think there's a chance electronics might survive hundreds of years, maybe thousands of years. And unfortunately, I think the Keo satellite is not going to be running anything on board. But I think it would be possible to have solar panels. And after all, I think the International Space Station is completely run on solar power. And 50,000 years from now, maybe, well, it's got to broadcast the solution back to Earth. I don't think the computer will survive intact. So it's got to broadcast, and every so often the TV or the radio would be interrupted. Hey, this guy from 2017 AD, his program has just computed R55 equals whatever, and then it's going to announce how it came up to that, and then maybe a few hundred years later, the TV will be interrupted. Hey, we have a perfectly playing Othello game. Go download it here. And I just think that would be a nice legacy to leave behind. Thanks for watching.